Okay, my friends, this is an introduction to what I'm going to show you exactly what is happening now. Colleges, universities, and all schools and all teaching has become menticide, which is the intentional undermining of a person's conscious mind, which is brainwashing. Now, they think they're brainwashing them into being a conscious, wide open mind that thinks and can understand what they're seeing. However, they are the ones that don't have the open mind and cannot see what they're seeing. And now they are forcing the students to comply with their inequities, inabilities, and to accept them because they stand over the top of the students. And they say, if you speak against us, we will put you in a corner and you won't be allowed to speak. Plus, we'll ruin your life by failing you, because we stand over you. We know what you should know, and don't think you should know something that we don't know. And I can show you, they do know now what the teachers refuse to allow them to know. How do you say to your son or your daughter, don't listen? I mean, don't think for yourself. Whatever they say, go along with it. That's all. Just go along with it. And you have to do that, otherwise your kids are going to fail. How do you feel about that? How do you think the kid feels about that? It didn't work for me. And that's why I am so loud about this, because the kids are being forced into denial and their minds are being literally destroyed. And if they speak up, their lives are literally destroyed by academics. I want you to watch the full story of the disaster, because this is the worst disaster in history, is the forced brainwashing, systemic. And I'm not talking about just one school. It's right across the board. If you go against them, you will be failed. And if you speak up as a teacher, you're gone. Stay on the stage, you have to be on the same page. You get up there and speak, out you go. Velikovsky was a contemporary of Einstein, stuck up for himself, was right about everything he said, and now they know it. Even like Venus is basically 850 degrees or something like that. Everybody else, oh no, 80 degrees, it's just like us. No, Velikovsky knew all these things. They destroyed him. Tesla, same thing, destroyed him. And me, I have I have DNA reports, I have everything, CAT scans, I have chemistry, I show the light accelerating, all this stuff, and it's not allowed because systemic brainwashing of what they were told to teach. Now, I'm not saying they had bad intentions, but it comes a point where if you have any ability whatsoever, you're going to see what I'm saying is true, and at that point, it becomes a conscious decision to go along to get along. That's the problem. Okay, my friends, why did I label this the worst disaster in human history? Well, it's because our kids are being told to be liars. They're being told to turn their minds off and not think for themselves anymore. I have all the evidence to support what I'm saying. I am not allowed to speak. And when the students question their professors why, they say, don't you speak about it or we'll destroy your life. Now, I didn't care, because this would have destroyed my life if I was dependent upon this for my life, but I'm not. This was just because I'm into research. Now, excellent quality DNA sequence was obtained from my mud fossil samples, and here they came back Homo sapien mitochondrial B gene and D loop region, and this was by a certified lab. I took the samples, extracted them, sent them the extracted samples, and they tested them for DNA, and they came back with human DNA. It wasn't mine. It was dense, and it was excellent quality. I took it literally out of blood. Here's one of the samples right here, which was a lung. That's a lung, and it's a human lung. Any anatomist will know that's a human lung, and it's a left human lung, and that's depression of the heart. And a guy died laying like this, flat, and I believe it was in a flood, and that's what preserved him. And I believe it was a saltwater flood, and I believe it was also a hot saltwater flood. And that is what was written in the ancient texts. 7 days almost got impacted by Venus. Del Velikovsky did all the research. He was destroyed for doing the research. They took his books off the bookshelves in 1950 because it went against academia. He's never been redeemed until me, and I will redeem him. I wrote a book about him. All right, I discovered mud fossils 10 or 12 years ago, and I have new species. I call no-toes. The toes are built right into them, exactly like our feet, almost. They have the regular tibia, and the fibia sits on the side. They break right off because there's no real solid attachment. And it has the same architecture of the arch of the foot. I've got all the bones, and then, I've extracted blood from a ton of them. Got a goose, and his feathers, became stone as well. And I understand the process, and it's nucleophilic substitution with using aluminum. Aluminum causes this in hot, salty floodwaters. And again, I don't know if I mentioned it about Velikovsky, but I will. He was the one that did all the research on how this tragic event happened and killed all the creatures here that they had talked about in the Bible and every other ancient text. They all had the same story. He went to everywhere in the world, not just people that were talking about biblical stuff. He went to South America and everywhere, all of the islands and places where they were completely separated and had no idea of what anybody else was saying. Same basic dates and times, same events. 7 days of intense radiation on the Earth from a celestial body approaching Earth and almost colliding with us. And it literally cooked the atmosphere, and it also compressed the atmosphere, so compressed that the oxygen reformed with the hydrogen, causing water. The heavens opened up and rained. The earth was quaked and shaked, and all of the volcanoes erupted. This is all recorded, and Velikovsky did the research. Einstein died with Velikovsky's book on his bed. Einstein knew Velikovsky was right, but you can't speak when you get in that realm, and then everybody else says, oh, he's so smart. Oh, look at him now, he's an idiot. Look, oh, he believes that stuff. What an idiot. Believe me, trust me, I know about being called an idiot. It's been 12 years, and people that you think would give you some support, none. And this has destroyed the minds of people that want to do real research. And the kids' minds are absolutely going to be disaster. It's going to be a disaster because they know right now that they are being forced to lie, but literally to lie and be stupid. Either be stupid or we will fail you for being smart. This is an absolute nightmare. Now, I'm going to show you the actual research, what we have done. We've accelerated light. Okay, if I could show you that I can do exactly what Fermilab and CERN and Lawrence Livermore would like to do, is to create muons, which are the black balls, and electron showers, which are the white balls. Would you be impressed by that? If I could show you light, strictly light, from a red pulsed laser, and that's the leading tip, and then I could show you that light, the same light, appears to be accelerating and gaining a tremendous amounts of energy as it concusses at what we created, which was a Venturi. And this is the particle right here, the black and white particles. That's a photon. Now, they are fused together. If I could separate those, would that impress you? Because that would be fission. And then when they came back together, that would be fusion. Would that impress you? If I could show you the particles that Fermilab says exist, the fixed particle with a glowy little thing around it, which is that, and that, which is this, and this is the energetic value. These are the white glowy particles, which Don Lincoln calls the point particles. They can glow and they can get bigger and smaller, and that's how they can squirt through the Venturi. Would that impress you? Okay, I think I might be able to show you light accelerating. I think that might excite some people. And it appears to be accelerating. I could be wrong. And it appears to be gaining exponential amounts of energy. And if we could harvest that energy right there, we may be able to get free energy. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I read somewhere that Fermilab said if you could separate the boson and the muon and the electron neutrino, it's 207 times more energy, and I believe that's probably about correct. And as you recall, the particles are coming in, and right here the black separates, which is the muon, separates from the electron neutrino, and that becomes an electron shower. They come back to here. That's, I always thought it was fission, and I always thought that would be fusion. And that's quite a bit of energy. And if we could harvest that energy right there, and I made a little diagram of, I think, how we might be able to do it. And that right there, can you see that? No, you cannot. However, now you can. Now, what would we have to do? Well, we would have to take that energy and harvest it right there with basically a solar collector. Use a little bit of it to continue this going, and just take the rest for free and never have to stop to buy gasoline or heat your house again. Take these out in the woods because there's no grid to power it. It'll be self-contained. I show this as a demonstration of about the size of what you would need to go out and power a house or a car or anything. And you could have a little dials to say, I want 120, 220, 60 cycle, 50 cycle, AC, DC, anything you want, come out with something like this. And using tiny little lasers. Tiny, I mean tiny. Solid state, nothing really hard to go wrong. So, should the kids be thinking about that, or should they be say no, don't think about it, because Einstein said you can't accelerate light, and nobody's been able to do this, so Roger must be crazy, so don't talk about it here. Well, I think that would be not a wise decision. I wouldn't want my kids to be told that, and told that if they do talk about it, they're going to be in trouble. I don't want them to think for themselves. Alright, I'm going to do the big video that's going to show everything about what we did and how it overrides what their kids are being taught, and they need to be able to speak about this. This is light from a pulse red laser. This is, looks to me like it's accelerating. Let's talk about it. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe we have a huge increase of energy here. Maybe we can harvest that. This is the particles that create that stream. These are what they call Higgs fields. Kids can do this at home. They could do this at home with their own cell phones. It's just amazing what the capabilities are now. And not to be able to speak about this and be told that this is impossible and don't think about it, that to me is, it just isn't right. So the next video is going to be a real serious expose. We have to do something right away. The kids are you know, it's child abuse at this point. It's really child abuse.